Hello, Honors 10 students. So today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about writing your introduction, because sometimes an introduction can feel a little overwhelming because you're just not even sure where to start. So I'm going to be using a sample here that you might be familiar with. This is the claim counterclaim essay that some of you may have written last year. It is over the characters from the Iliad. Many of us read Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And in this particular essay, the prompt was, is Achilles a hero? So, is Achilles a hero? This is the prompt that we're going to be hopefully addressing in this essay. So we all have a thesis that we're starting with. So let's start with the thesis in this particular prompt. Even though Achilles shows hubris or pride at times, he is an exemplary hero because he sacrifices himself and demonstrates courage and bravery throughout the war. So let's start with the writer's position. Their position, he is an exemplary hero. This is their position or their claim, the thing that they're proving. And remember, guys, this needs to be in all of your topic sentences too. So as I was looking through your drafts of your topic sentences and thesis statements, this was a big thing that I noticed, is you had a really great claim in your thesis, but then you left it out of your topic sentence. So make sure, for example, if you're writing about how Madame Defarge makes bad decisions, that's your claim. That needs to be in your thesis and all your topic sentences. Or if you're trying to say the revolution is not justified, that's your claim. That needs to be in your thesis and all of your topic sentences. All right, so let's go back to this Achilles essay. So the author's claim here is that he is an exemplary hero. And then it's followed up by this word, because. And this is the author's proving word. So you need to make sure that your thesis and topic sentences have a proving word, because this is what makes your paper arguable. You're not just saying he's a hero. You're saying he's a hero because of these reasons. You're not just saying the revolution is justified. You're saying it's justified because of these specific arguable reasons. So he is a hero because, and then we see here their reasons why. He sacrifices himself and he demonstrates courage and bravery. So this would be our first reason why, and this would be our second reason why. But remember, this is a claim counterclaim writing, so you need to make sure you're addressing the opposite side. And the author does that here, even though Achilles shows hubris or pride at times. So this would be the counterclaim, what someone might argue for why he isn't a hero. All right, so we all have a thesis that we're starting with. And then the question is, how do we build our introduction around it? So there's some really good, just go-to things that you want to think about and you want to do when you're writing your introduction. The first one is one that I'm sure you guys have heard a million times. It's this idea of writing your introduction like a funnel. So what that means is you start out general and you get more specific. So the last sentence equals your thesis. Now, you all know what one sentence of your introduction is going to be, what the very last sentence is going to be. It's the thesis that you've already written. So how do you build the rest of the introduction around it? Well, use your thesis to help you determine everything that needs to go into your intro. So your thesis is about a particular topic. Whatever that topic is, you need a sentence on that in your intro. Your thesis is about a particular position on that topic. Whatever that position is, you need a sentence on that. Now, there's also a counterclaim. You need to introduce what other people might say. And there are reasons why you instead hold your position. You need to introduce those things. And all of this is being written about a particular novel and or particular characters. So you need to introduce those things too. So as we're thinking about these general things that we start with, number one, introduce your topic, right? Maybe for you, that means that you're starting with a sentence about the French Revolution. Or maybe for you, that means you're starting with a sentence about A Tale of Two Cities or about a particular character in A Tale of Two Cities. Now with this, you want to make sure as you're introducing your topic, you're telling us who, what, when, and where. So that's going to involve not only what you're writing about, right? That's your what, but any characters, stating the novel and author, and giving us some context about the time period. Particularly, this is important for this type of writing because this novel is all about the French Revolution. All right. So let's take a look at how this author for our Song of Achilles, Is Achilles a Hero, did this. Because they did a phenomenal job of starting general, introducing the topic, telling us about the who, the what, the when, the where, and then getting more into their thesis, introducing their thesis, their how, and their why, and then ending with this thesis statement. So the first sentence, Achilles, main character in Homer's epic poem, The Iliad, is one of the greatest warriors in all of Greek mythology. So notice this is pretty general. But even though it's pretty general, they're still introducing their topic here with Achilles. And they're giving us a little bit of context on this topic, telling us a little bit about the when, telling us a little more about the what. So Achilles, main character in Homer's epic poem, The Iliad, is one of the greatest warriors in all of Greek mythology. He stands as a figure of importance and a role model in ancient Greek society and still remains prevalent today. Madeline Miller retells the epic story of this ancient Greek hero in her modern rendition, Song of Achilles, a story about the Trojan War. In her story, Achilles not only builds his kleos, or reputation, for himself in Troy, but he also demonstrates qualities of a hero while he fights in the Trojan War. Achilles is sacrificial, compassionate, courageous, and strong during the 10-year battle. However, like all humans, Achilles is not perfect. He also makes mistakes during the war, and some of his prideful actions detract from his heroism. Yet, despite these mistakes, Achilles is still an amazing hero. Even though Achilles shows hubris or pride at times, he is an exemplary hero because he sacrifices himself and demonstrates courage and bravery throughout the war. Now, one thing that you probably notice as I'm reading through this is there's a great flow in this introduction. Every sentence leads into the next. And this is something that you want to really think about. And honestly, it really does take some work to get to. Every sentence has a purpose. And it leads into the next one. So the author starts with Achilles in Greek mythology. And then talks about how Achilles is seen in Greek mythology. Figure of importance. And notice this is starting to hone in and introduce more about the topic of heroism. Then the author ends with this sentence. This part of the sentence remains prevalent today. This directly introduces the next sentence, which is about the story that they are writing about, Song of Achilles, which is a modern rendition. So see how these two things are linked together? And one leads into the next. This sentence leads off talking about the Trojan War. The next sentence picks up talking about how Achilles behaves in the Trojan War, what he does. And notice the things that they start to introduce are how he shows the qualities of a hero. So we're getting more specific. We start super general. Achilles, he's a main character in Homer's poem. He's a figure of importance in Greek society. He still is important today. Getting even more specific, Madeline Miller writes about him. Now we're introducing our author and our text that we're writing about. Where does she write about him? In the Song of Achilles. Getting more specific. What is the Song of Achilles about? The Trojan War. Getting more specific. Well, what about Achilles in the Trojan War, in the Song of Achilles? Well, he's building his kleos and he's demonstrating qualities of hero. Now we're starting to really get to our topic here. Then we get even more specific when we talk about what these qualities of a hero are. Sacrificial, compassionate, courageous, strong. And notice these are the exact same qualities that the author later brings up in the thesis. So it's not like they're just randomly mentioning qualities about Achilles. They're purposely choosing specific things that are going to come back up in the thesis. So use your thesis as the springboard. Look at all the key parts of your thesis and ask, what is in my thesis? That needs to be a sentence in my intro leading into this thesis. And again, this is a thesis that has a counterclaim. So notice this sentence. This is where the author introduces what the other side might say. And notice this great transition word, however. So, introducing what other people might say. However, like all humans, Achilles is not perfect. Why is he not perfect? He also makes mistakes. So again, every sentence leads into the next sentence. Well, how does he make mistakes? Through some of his prideful actions. And then notice this specific thing mentioned here is again the same idea referenced in the thesis. So the author picked these key details in the thesis: Achilles, hubris, hero, sacrifice, courage, war, and then made a sentence for each in the introduction. All right, guys, I hope this helped. If you do have any questions or want any feedback or want to run any ideas past us, please